Are all the Everest plans sort of still up in the air a bit?
Well, I don't think we're that much the wiser.
Where's your gut leading at the moment between Alizee and Osborne bulls?
So there's a lot of talk around him. I guess it's the elephant in the room. I'm not sure we need to make any decisions, but...
Okay.
We've actually never been lucky enough to see her at full fitness and in full flight in a grand final occasion over a sprint distance.
She's got a turn of foot that not many horses possess. I personally am surprised she has not got a slot.
The biggest watch for us on this weekend has to be Bivouac, and he's running for a lot more than the $1 million prize money in the Golden Rose this weekend.
Bivouac comes back, Bivouac fights on, and Bivouac wins the Golden Rose.
We think he's the best 3-year-old colt in the country. I'd rather give him his chance again at 6 than I would at a mile.
Yeah, I think the next 6 days are crucial for us.
What's the party line?
Well,
don't worry, we'll talk about that when it comes to the Everest. Not now. There's no need.
The party line changes if we're talking about having 2 runners.
If she and Osborne bulls were to make the field, it would be very interesting to see who came out on top.
I still think that he's going to be right up there with right up there as our best chance in the Everest.
There was a lot of adrenaline, there was a lot of excitement, but then to talk to people and they said they've never been to a race meeting with so much atmosphere. They said it was just different. It was different. It was, it was buzzing, it was exciting, it was, you couldn't move in Randwick. It was the biggest crowd I've seen, in my whole career being at racing.
There's a sense of calmness in the room. Butterflies are running through your stomach and you just can't wait to get out there and compete.
I remember the pressure on the day was unbelievable. It was quite intense.
You walk out of the room and you see the crowd around the theatre of the horse out the back. It's something I've never seen before.
With the Everest, because it attracts such good horses right across the board, there's a very eerie feeling going to the race and everyone's really wondering how is the event going to unfold.
Here we go for the Everest, the lights on. Wow, bigger roar than last year. It's a moist crowd here at Randwick and the gates open for the Everest.
That roar is rare. You hear it in the Melbourne Cup, you hear it when Winks was running, but you hear it in the Everest. So people are engaged, people are excited, there's atmosphere, there's expectation, and that's what it's all about.
In a major milestone for Sydney racing, Racing New South Wales and the ATC have announced an extraordinary $10 million race.
They're off in the Pegasus World Cup.
Everyone loves a good idea, and at Randwick on October 14th, the Harbour City will stage its version of this mind-boggling concept. The lure is stake money of $10 million. Yes, far more than for the Melbourne Cup. $5.8 million to the winner. 12 owners have bought slots for $1.8 million for the first 3 years of the Everest.
Look, we saw the Pegasus series in America and I thought it was a very good idea about the slots. And while I was attracted to it, I knew it would cause controversy, discussion and a lot of publicity, because in picking a horse, it's always going to be controversial, it's always going to be of interest.
The day has arrived, the stage is set, the $10 million Everest Stakes is upon us. It's an innovative idea that was brought to us by Peter V'landys of Racing New South Wales and Jason. It's a spectacular day.
The Everest as a concept has just made an extraordinary impact on not only Sydney racing but Australian racing. It's unique in a lot of respects and it's designed for sprinters, which, to be fair, is the strength of Australian racing. And in just 2 years, we've only had 2 runnings of the race so far. It's certainly made an extraordinary impact, and not just nationally, it's gone global.
What the Everest has done for racing in Sydney, I've never seen in my time in racing. The cut through that this race has is quite extraordinary, particularly to a younger generation. It's attracting a new genre of racegoer, which I think is very exciting for the industry generally.
I like the way it's gotten the young crowd back involved. Sydney really needed a new kick and an energy boost, and that's what the Everest has been able to do. So it's created a huge amount of momentum. It's a fast and furious race, and it's a fast and furious crowd as well.
The talk's over. Darren Flindell is set to call. Here we go for the Everest. The lights on. To the big roar of the crowd, they're off and racing. She Will Reign was a bit tardy out. Will settle second last, and Redzel jumped fast.
I remember thinking at the time that the race was panning out quite well for us, so the horses were where I wanted them to be.
Vega Magic's got cover around the turn. Clearly Innocent making hard work of it. English Chautauqua still back last. Up the rise, Hootson and Redzel.
Redzel was in his customary position up front, and you can see when he was nursed up the rise, you just knew the horse was going to give a good kick, and it would take a pretty good one to get him.
Brave Smashers ducking and weaving. Chautauqua 6 off them, but Redzel's burst clear at the 100 metres. Vega Magic, Brave Smash running on, then Tulip, but Redzel, he's home in the Everest. Redzel leads all the way.
Redzel has won the Tab Everest and $5.8 million.
Can you believe it? I mean, this race was never even dreamt of only a matter of months ago, and it's amazing to think that, you know, it's grown to such a level that it has now. It's a world-class event.
This is like nothing I've ever seen at a race course before, ever in my life. Absolutely unbelievable.
I got the phone call to do the ring around. Oh, would you like to take the slot? I'm like, please, just in. We actually had one owner that said, oh no, let's wait till next year. I wanted to buy him out.
Where else do you see that? Where else do you see a billionaire do a deal with a bricklayer? You know, you don't see it.
You know it's on again next year. We'll be back, I tell you. We'll be back. They might have to shut the gates here at Royal Randwick because the publicity has been all around Sydney and in fact all around the world.
Mixing a day out at the races with the night at the Opera hasn't been popular in Australia.
After days of debate, the promotion of a Sydney horse race on the Opera House went ahead last night.
This has caused quite a storm in Sydney and around the country.
I just don't understand why we tie ourselves up in knots about these things.
And I'll tell you what, if you didn't know about the Everest last week, this week, or any time the last few weeks, you sure do now.
We have finally made it. We have a field that has changed at the very last minute, but we are here.
Next to you is a man who last year wasn't allowed to ride in the Everest. This year thought he might be riding Chautauqua. That didn't happen. This morning he thought he was riding Home of the Brave. That's out of the question.
It has been a roller coaster ride. The team at the ATC called me during the week and told me Home of the Brave was scratched, and he waited about 30 or 40 seconds before he told me I had another ride in the race. So it was a worrying time, but
Were we anxious about getting a slot? Yes, we were. We had a couple of nice sprinters. They weren't top of the tree or the obvious picks for those slot holders that were open or vacant at the time. And the ATC approached us about potentially having a horse there, and we suggested a couple of horses, and they picked Home of the Brave out, who at the time had the best form. He'd won brilliantly on a wet track not about a month before the Everest, and he looked like a good proposition, so we accepted. By Tuesday afternoon, he had a temperature and was looking very unlikely that he'd be running. And fortunately, we had Osborne Bulls accepted for the Sydney Stakes, and he was at the time the favourite for the Sydney Stakes, so he was the next choice of the ATC.
Now these are the Godolphin colours. So this is the barrier that Home of the Brave drew earlier today. It has been replaced by another Godolphin runner. The ATC hold the slot, and they had the choice of any one of the 6 emergencies. They chose Osborne Bulls, so Osborne Bulls goes into the barrier that Home of the Brave drew earlier today. What barrier is that? Barrier 5. Tommy Berry rides for James Cummings.
This is Osborne Bulls, and he's our chance for the Everest on Saturday.
He just loves winning. He doesn't like being beat in a walk. He doesn't like being beat in a trot. He doesn't like being beat in a canter. And he takes that right to galloping, and he takes that right through to his racing.
It's a really great thrill to have a horse like him running in a big race like this. He's just continued to improve as he's gone along, and he gives his best. And you know, on Saturday, whether he wins or not, he'll be a horse he'll be really trying hard for us, and it's creating a lot of excitement out here.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
Go Aussie!
Go Aussie!
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi!
Go Aussie!
Come on, Aussie!
Come on, Aussie!
Get up, son!
Tom, there's been plenty of rain about. The skies have opened up. We've got blue sky here. How is the track?
Yeah, it's in great order, actually. I was quite surprised with the amount of rain we have had. They've got a great patch of grass. They've obviously put the rail back into the true, which is nice. There's a good pad of grass on the inside there. So it's better than what I expected it to be. And as long as we don't get any rain during the day, which hopefully it doesn't look like we are going to, it should be a nice day for everyone to come out and see. You know, I'm happy with the bloke I've ended up on. They've been very bullish during the week about him. He's got a great win record. The only question mark's his class. He hasn't sort of run in this Group 1 company too many times before, bar last start. So, well, I was out walking the track and I met James and Dominic at about the 300 metre mark, and we started talking about the track and how it was a bit worn out, and we're not sure if Osborne Bulls would love a surface of, you know, that type. And James said, what would you think? And James and Dominic said, what would you think about going to the outside fence?
It was an interesting tactic, and it's a tactic that the trainer James Cummings has used before with success. So it didn't surprise me, but let's remember Osborne Bulls was a late inclusion of the field. He wasn't really one of the fancied runners, so I feel he sort of had nothing to lose and threw caution to the wind, and from that day on he's proven to be one of the country's best horses, there's no doubt about it. His form's been impeccable ever since, and he certainly put the righty on the wall on that day.
Geez, he can reel off some fantastic sectionals over with lesser grade horses, but if he can compel that and bring it up to this level, he's definitely right in this. There's nothing wrong with his condition, he's spot on.
So Trapeze Artist comes up, and the Lloyd Kennewell trained Fedora, one of the latest inclusions into the race. Fedora comes up and the lights on. Here we go for the Everest. Wow, bigger roar than last year. It's a moist crowd here at Randwick, and the gates open for the Everest. US Navy flag missed the start together with Osborne Bulls.
The first thing you notice is the crash back of the gates. You know, you can hear that on the TV, and that's what we hear as well. And as soon as you hear that crash back, you know you're off and racing.
Relatively speaking, once the gates open, it's important to just ride it like any other race and keep your fingers crossed and hope that you're on the right one.
Soft lead for Redzel, Le Remainder second, Vega Magic 3 wide, No Cover third, then Trapeze Artist, Fedora's off the track.
We got a good position on Redzel. We were travelling comfortable right up on the front. First year we were outside of Hootson, second year we led.
It was an instant reaction with Osborne Bulls. Once I got him out to that better part of the track, he changed legs. I pulled the stick through to my right, and he lowered himself down behind and extended.
Le Remain sticks on second, Trapeze Artist goes to third, 300 out, Redzel still cruising in the lead.
What are you doing?
Trapeze Artist, Le Remain do the chasing, further back to Graff, and down the outside is Osborne Bulls. It's Redzel clear, Redzel 50 metres to go, looking to conquer the Everest again, and boy, he's done it. Redzel leads all the way from Trapeze Artist. I think Osborne Bulls the stands well third in front of Le Remain.
He's wrapped. He looked like he won it. Yeah. Good job. As well.
Osborne Bulls, Tommy Berry.
Yeah, look, actually jumped well, got on the back of Graf. They took us a fair way in the straight. To be fair, I was a bit worried coming to the corner because the wheels were spinning. Yeah. So once we got out into that pad of grass, pulled the stick to the right and gave him one, he let rip, you know. He sort of, his run ended at about the 50-metre mark, but he's just all guts. That was unreal. I feel like I won.
You got over the top of like Le Romain the last.
Mate, like he just
everything's run was ending the last 100.
Well, I think they got on that tiring track. They probably got bogged down in it where we were just out there cruising along, you know. Yeah. So well done. Good on you. Well done. Well on you, Daz.
Good on you, brother.
Well done. Thank you very much. Well done.
10 out of 10, son. Yeah, well, that was probably the best third we've ever run in our life. I've never seen so heavy.
The question is, who will it be? Who will it be? Will we get the answers here tonight from James Cummings and Darren Beadman? I doubt it.
Did you think you'd see him stronger over the line than the other horse?
Any one of those horses is well and truly on our radar, and I'd be surprised if they're not on other people's too, but it's their slot and it's for them to sort out.
But you did a good job with him. You switched him back off.
Well, I was able to just get him to control.
You got him to wait till passing the 600.
I got him to wait till I was ready to go.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's what we need.
What you need.
Following an extremely competitive tender process, Racing New South Wales and the ATC have announced that the successful tenderer for that vacant slot is Godolphin.
You can understand why Racing New South Wales would love to have Godolphin involved. They are arguably the most powerful racing operation in the world.
Godolphin is a worldwide brand. It's a worldwide racing organisation and a highly respected one. They do everything professionally. And what a lot of people don't see about Godolphin is the things they put back into racing. It's not just about winning races. You know, they do this thing called Flying Start, where they take 12 people every year from right around the world and train them into the racing industry at their expense. Who does that? And never look for any accolades. They will lead the world in animal welfare in relation to the retirement of racehorses. So for us, it was an easy one when the slot became available. We wanted Godolphin. You know, Godolphin is a respected, well-known international racing brand that you would kill for. And not because they're successful on the racecourse. It's all, what attracts me to Godolphin is all the things that people don't see behind the scenes that they do, that they never look for any recognition.
Good afternoon, everyone, with breaking news around the Tab Everest to be run in October.
Vin, we've spoken to you a number of times about the Godolphin interest in the race. This has taken it to a brand new level.
We've got a very strong field of sprinters in the barn at the moment. You know, they're all the chart. So we've got a lot of horses, a big, high-profile owner, a global spread, and I think that's very attractive to Racing New South Wales.
I don't think they'll be telling us whether it's gone to the highest bidder, but it's what Godolphin will be able to do to promote this race all around the world.
The world's richest race on turf, the Everest, has been launched in spectacular fashion.
One was fantastic, win two was unbelievable. So
yeah, we're looking forward to it, and with Redzel coming back again this year, 3 in a row is right on the cards for him.
Let's analyse the Everest, have a look at the slot holders now. Godolphin will be either Alizee or Osborne bulls, but they're also open to a deal, so James Harron Bloodstock could do a deal with Godolphin to be able to get the other runner.
The battle lines are drawn and the troops out at Osborne Park are being assembled. The Blue Army is coming for the Tab Everest. Leading the charge for the Godolphin slot is Osborne Bulls. He's the top seed as far as James Cummings is concerned, and rightly so. He has been there before, running third in the Tab Everest last year, so Cummings knows he'll handle the pressure. Having suffered setback after setback, Osborne Bull's career was nearly over before it ever begun. He debuted 4 days before turning 4, and in his 2 seasons of racing, he's won 9 of his 19 starts. His story for the autumn was one of frustration, with all 5 of his runs resulting in Group 1 seconds. The 6-year-old deserves his moment in the sun, and the stages don't come much bigger than the Tab Everest. Waiting in the wings if Osborne Bulls fails to fire in the lead up to October 19 is hulking mare Alizee, 600 kilos of power. The young gun Bivouac, a stunning last start winner of the Run to the Rose. And if he wins the Golden Rose on Saturday, the temptation could be to run in the Tab Everest with 53 kilos. Stradbroke winner Trekking also gets to show his wares in the Group 1 Moya Stakes on Friday night. The war cry hasn't yet been heard, but Godolphin's march to the Tab Everest has well and truly begun.
There we go, 3. 10, 5, 4, 3.
Yes, the question is, who will it be? Who will it be? Will we get the answers here tonight from James Cummings and Darren Beeman? I doubt it. But they're here. James and Darren, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Greg.
There's a lot of questions being asked everywhere, especially about your horses, because you've got maybe up to 4 horses to choose from right at this very moment.
Yeah, man, a week's a long time in racing, so we're posing ourselves the question every week.
Hey, mate. Just tell Kieran to keep him on the bit. He's really just having a morning out. Well, like, it depends on a couple of things, but it might be like after Epsom Day. But if someone comes along and wants to have another slot and the boys are interested in that, like have another one of our horses, then maybe we'll announce our horse.
If you could pick one at this point of time.
Oh, I couldn't pick one. I couldn't pick one now. If I had to pick one now, I'd pick Alizee. If I had to pick one now.
Hello, mate.
Hey, mate. What's happening?
So Osborne, Flit and Viridine won't do a lot out there. And mate, any update on Alizee?
Yes, she's booming. She's back at Osborne Park, and she looks fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. And you're just working towards the 19th to see what happens. Is that right?
Yes, we haven't penciled in a run at this stage. In the meantime, we're going straight there at this stage.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let me call you back. I've got to watch this. I've got Osborne Bulls about to gallop, so say a prayer for him. I've got to go. I've got to watch this gallop.
All right, no worries, mate. I'll let you concentrate.
Okay, thanks, mate.
Okay,
Bye.
see you, mate.
Tommy's just out there now.
Thanks. Okay. Yeah. Strong on the bit there, Rudy. Strong on the bit, mate. What'd you get the last one?
1183.
12 eights, 12 eights.
Yeah.
Break 12 there.
They probably both went well, didn't they, really? Did you think you'd see him stronger over the line than the other horse? He's going okay. He's probably... He's going okay.
Kieran, trekking. He jumped out and he showed he's well and fresh, you know. He travelled nice. He didn't get a heap of cover. Wanted a little bit more once we turned for home. So he rolled clear of them, then I just let him cruise the last bit and he clocked off the last 100 and
Hello.
You've heard the good news?
Good news about what?
No good news?
What happened?
About you.
What happened?
He's out.
He's not riding Saturday.
He's not riding Saturday. He woke up this morning. He said to Cheese, he doesn't think he should be riding.
Well, I thought we'd be in trouble when he wouldn't come out to ride a gallop this morning.
And he said I don't think I'll get a clearance. He hasn't tried, but they told him yesterday he wouldn't get a clearance from the specialist.
Yeah, you already told me that last night. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So
I'm not surprised. That's kind of like why I asked you last night. So.
Yeah. No. So at the moment. I spoke to my guest last night.
So James rides Osborne Bulls.
James rides Osborne Bulls.
Yeah.
Kieran's riding Probabile. James is riding Constar. Tim's riding Villamar, I think.
Here's you now. I'll call you back.
Okay, mate.
Cephalins, have we got 5226, Tish?
Yeah, mate, yeah.
5226 Polly, mate.
Hey, mate.
Good, mate. Good.
Not too bad. You're out of play.
There was a comment there that I think we played it last week. You said Osborne Bulls at this moment in time is our horse until otherwise stated.
Like I said, my feeling is that every time we wheel out one of these top sprinters, that we treat them like they're going to be our Everest horse. So when we saddled up Alizee, we're thinking about the impact on the Everest for her and having her absolutely bang on for the 19th. And the same could be said for Bivouac on the weekend and trekking for Friday night. So any one of those horses is well and truly on our radar, and I'd be surprised if they're not on other people's too, but it's their slot and it's for them to sort out.
That's what makes this race, I think, so compelling, doesn't it? Because we've tapped into what is the strength of Australian racing, which is our sprinters, and there's such a deep pool of talent to choose from.
Well, Bivouac, when he one last start, but the start before that in the San Domenico, he wasn't even on the radar. They would have said no Everest.
He's right back in it now.
Yeah, but now he's come back into contention.
Switched on a bit when I went down behind.
He had to think about wanting to race a bit, didn't he?
He did, but then he didn't.
But you did a good job with him. You switched him back off.
Well, I was able to just get into control.
You got him to wait till passing the 600.
I got him to wait till I was ready to go.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's what we need.
What you need.
And he is in the picture. He is well and truly in the picture for either you or for a James Harron sitting back watching.
And the red light is on.
You reckon?
The Golden Rose field is ready. Gates are back and they're off, and Bivouac flew out. Bivouac leads early, but Yaudash shows good muster.
This opportunity on Saturday, he's racing for a lot more than the $1 million that is being put on offer. His stallion profile is first and foremost for us, but if he gets up and wins the Golden Rose, he's got to be on the table.
It's Bivouac being joined by Yes on the outside of Bivouac, 2 further back to Exceedance. It's Yes, laying it down to Bivouac. Great finish, Yes. Bivouac comes back, Bivouac fights on, and Bivouac wins the Golden Rose. Another one for Godolphin.
He becomes a very, very valuable colt now, and the spring's not over. It's just begun, but he's had 4 runs.
Well, he's an experienced horse, you know. You might say I served it up to him as a 2-year-old, but I could see what he could handle. We know the key to the horse. We've taught him to relax. We've trained him to run 7 furlongs, and you know what? He's probably the best 6-furlong 3-year-old in the country.
Are we ready to talk Everest?
So where are you at in terms of the Everest?
Without having seen Osborne Bulls first up yet, and even in light of being over the moon with how Alizee's going, she's just in great health, trialled beautifully, and has had the right prep for it. I'd still think that he's going to be right up there with right up there as our best chance in the Everest. But that could be a different question. To the question is, are you happy, and are we all comfortable to run him in there?
Yeah.
Because it is throwing him in the deep end, and it is a big step up against those tough weight for age horses.
Yeah.
But that's why he gets his weight for age allowance.
So to put you right on the spot, we've got 1 slot to use. We've got 4 horses. What are you picking today?
Without worrying about Bivouac's reputation as a stallion, without worrying about his reputation as a stallion, I would say Bivouac today, and with keeping his reputation in mind, I would be interested to hear your thoughts about the difference between getting beaten in an Everest or getting beaten in a Cornwall. That's what's on everyone's mind, isn't it? It's the risk to the horse's stallion reputation.
Yeah, I mean, if they get beat, they get beat. But we've had plenty of colts get beat.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? I don't think it's a big difference.
I think the answer to the question is we should be trying to run him where we think he's the best chance of winning.
Yeah.
And for me, as you know, I'm conservative about 3-year-olds. In any case, very conservative when they're stallion prospects. And he has a race restricted to his own age in 5 weeks' time, which is a serious stallion making race. Again, we think he's the best 3-year-old in the country, so we're happy to take on whatever turns up. I'd rather run him there than against the best sprinters in the country.
What do you think there, James?
Consider that in all the years we might have a Golden Rose winner and we might have the best 3-year-old 1,200 metre horse in the country. How many years is the Everest going to be as open as this? I don't subscribe to the theory of burying a 3-year-old by running them at weight for age. But I wouldn't be unhappy being asked to train the horse for the Cornwall. It's not black and white. It's like it's 50-50 or it's 55-45. And ultimately, I reckon, Vin, you've got to take all the advice that we give, and you make a call, and we just get in behind it, and we support whichever horse we support the decision we make.
Great.
You enjoyed this morning by the look of it.
He's moving way better than he was last prep, in my opinion.
All right, so just following from Saturday and Osborne Bulls, Jason, have you got something through from the weekend?
So we'll remember from Saturday that our jockey Bowman commented that the horse hadn't returned to scale quite as well as he'd like, and the veterinary stewards on course had assessed him with quite a significant lameness.
He's got that will to win, yeah, he's really got that, he knows where the line is. I said whatever he does this year in the Everest, I said in 12 months' time he'll improve even further. So to run third last year, and if I'm right, he could go 1 or 2 better. Being the horse he is and taking no chances with him, so just keep him wrapped up in cotton wool, so to speak.
Brought Osborne Bulls and microphone out to Hawkesbury for a nice piece of work this morning. So by getting him on a truck, getting him stimulated, warming him right up and getting him off the farm to come out for a gallop, a little more out of his comfort zone, we get the opportunity to really bring him on for the weekend.
He's moving way better than he was last prep, in my opinion.
That's good to hear.
And he's happy. He's just in good order.
No, he looked good, didn't he? Well, you felt him, I saw him. Be interesting. He'd be better for the run, won't he?
For sure.
About 85% there.
Oh, good improvement.
Yeah. We'll get through the weekend, hey?
Yep.
Where's your gut leaning at the moment between Alizee and Osborne Bulls?
I'm really none the wiser. I just can't get it out of my head how good he galloped at Randwick the other day.
Was there ever a time somewhere where it was thought that he would never quite make it?
Well, yeah, it was always a thought for sure, like every time he came in, so, you know, it was always a sort of fingers crossed with him early days, and he's just improved every prep after that.
On that gallop, I'd have to go with him.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Premier Stakes. A much anticipated return.
Yes. Much anticipated for quite some time now.
It's more anticipated.
He's held us in suspense, hasn't he?
He has. You're satisfied though that he's ready. He's ready to, produce something.
Well, I think he's nearly there. So, so there's no doubt in my mind that there's improvement to come.
and he's going to be in need of this run this weekend. But anybody with a pencil in their hand doing the form is going to work that out too.
Are all the Everest plans sort of still up in the air a bit?
Well, I don't think we're that much the wiser.
What's the party line?
The party line changes if we're talking about having 2 runners.
Is there anything else we need to say about Osborne?
No.
Just take them off and they'll have a race with them.
Yeah, you are allowed. You are allowed. Here he is. I pulled out that footage, that photo of him in the gallop and everything, and he did look better, didn't he? He did look better than he looked yesterday out in the course. He's laid back when he was hitting the line in the gallop. Why don't you just walk him up to me, please, and then trot him back towards us? Thank you.
Come off the ice. He had 10 minutes in the aqua and then he went on the walker and then he's been on the ice. He's only come off the ice about 15, 20 minutes.
Having a good day today then. There was no reason for it to be like it was yesterday. It was
no,
a perfect Sunday.
Oh, bud. Oh, bud.
The wet track will make it sweet, just come back into play.
Take the jarness out of it.
Just go for a walk up and back to me and then pop him away, thanks. If you go right back, then you can just put him straight back in his box, eh? Thanks. Well, he's certainly not ready to run a grand final performance on Saturday, is he? We know that.
He pulled up really good. He wasn't blowing at all last week.
Yeah.
I showed you last extra on the way out.
We reckon Timmy, is he happy?
I was only saying to Tomo, and I messaged Tony as well.
Well, I don't think he's at his best yet, but he doesn't have to be at his best yet. He's got another month up his sleeve to really be at his peak, and I think that's the way that we want it.
What are you expecting of him today, though? Is it safe to say that you feel that he is a winning chance?
Well, I think so. I think he's better than he was a couple of weeks ago when I scratched him. He's just improved in the coat and he's come on with more training. So hopefully that timing sort of has him coming along at the right time, just at the right moment for his campaign and for what's sort of lying ahead for him in the next few weeks. But he's prepared to run well, and you saw him at a barrier trial this preparation 2 months ago, and he was really screaming up the track there. So we'd like to see him letting down quite similarly today.
There's the bull, Osborne Bulls. Can he break back into the winners list for the first time since he won down the straight in the Linlithgow at Flemington on November last year?
Racing now. Classique Legend jump well. Osborne Bulls out with it with Brutal. Home of the Brave Graph. My goodness, they're tightly bunched, and Home of the Brave's going to take up the lead.
I mean, I probably arrived a bit sooner than I was hoping to, but I didn't want to be waiting for Nash to drop me too late. I sort of rode him like I would a piece of track work, and I felt at the 300 I'm going to find wanting at the 50, but clearly he didn't finish his race off, so he seems to have pulled up a bit lame when I trotted him back. So see how he cools down, but thanks for the ride. Thank you.
So just following from Saturday and Osborne Bulls, Jack, have you got something through from the weekend?
So we'll remember from Saturday that our jockey Bowman commented that the horse hadn't returned to scale quite as well as he'd like, and the veterinary stewards on course is assessing quite a significant lameness. So he was given some anti-inflammatories on Saturday night after the race, and I was with our vet Trevor Robson there on yesterday morning, and with that pain relief on board, he was still obviously a little off. So James, I think to an extent the horse is telling us what the plan needs to be for him. In the interest of putting him first, I think he's telling us that he's not going to be there for us in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do.
So we're just getting to the 3-year-olds and colts specifically, Bivouac, in regard to the Everest. What's our thinking there?
Personally, I think that if we ran Bivouac in the Everest, he would start the shortest of any of the horses that we'd saddle up in the race. I don't have any personal problem about running him at weight for age. I think he'd be able to handle that.
In terms of the long-term racing of the horse, we don't have to retire him next season. With other Group 1 options on the table and a potential trip to Royal Ascot and hopefully the Everest this time next year, how does that put him in the picture with us?
Oh, I think it's exciting to think that you could have the horse there at 4, still competing for an Everest. I'd love to win it twice with him, but there's no right or wrong answer with it. I mean, the horse is going to look really attractive wherever we run him next. I mean, he's going to be highly competitive. It might be the preference to stick with the seasoned multiple Group 1 winning mare.
7 News can reveal exclusively the powerful Godolphin stable has selected 3-time Group 1 winning mare Alizee to fill its slot.
Trekking's got ball and muscle, the Bostonian trekking through and trekking has won it.
Because it's got a classic V shape where all the speed is. The widest horse is a bit faster than the one just inside it,
Hello everyone, welcome to today's Sky Racing Thursday News, and the Irish are smiling because what they've been after is a dry track, and that's certainly going to be the case on the weekend.
The position that we were in, where we have a number of sprinters to choose from, forced us to do the right thing by our own investment in the slot.
James Cummings and the Godolphin team, which today announced that Osborne Bull's definitely going to be their Everest contender.
We wanted our best chance in our slot, and when Osborne Bulls didn't quite measure up, it became Alizee. And
how's your Everest horse up today? That'd be my pick as well, yeah.
So I think it was only right that we waited right up until as late as possible to decide which of our seasoned sprinters was going to be in the best form for this week.
I felt that the stable's leaning was maybe towards Osborne Bulls throughout the preparation, but as James just alluded to, it was never going to be locked in until he got to the point where he needed to make a decision.
7 News can reveal exclusively the powerful Godolphin stable has selected 3-time Group 1 winning mare Alizee to fill its slot.
Trekking's got ball and muscle, the Bostonian trekking through and trekking has won it.
And Godolphin might just have another big chance as have a crack at a $14 million race.
What are you thinking about that potential Everest run with that weak backup?
Yeah, look, it's definitely been a target for Trekking. He'll be the only horse in the Everest on the 7-day backup. That'll be interesting from that perspective. I'll have a talk to the boys this morning, and I think whatever we do, we're sort of pretty good at sticking to a decision and moving on with it. He got off the float, Trekking, looking really good, and he's probably just about 10 kilos down from a race day weight, and he could comfortably put on 10 kilos in the next couple of days just with fluids and getting over that float trip. So I think that's a really good result. For all the horses that have come back from Melbourne, he's right up there with like the top 2 out of the last 50 that we brought back from Melbourne, looking that sort of condition, looking good. You know?
I was in tears because you don't see a horse win like that every day just to get into a race, you know. So, no, it's a real good feeling. I'm quite nervous actually. As soon as we get into the races and get him all settled, that's when I think the butterfly will start coming.
What are you nervous about?
The whole thing. No, I haven't strapped in a big race like this before, so you know, I'm just taking it all in day by day.
She is very, very well. You can when she's fresh, she's you know, she knows her job. She's a different horse in the box to out on the track. She knows her job, and the more fresh she is, the more excitable she can be out on the track.
Switched off well there. How's the pace there, Reedy?
Well, she picked up nicely from the 3, and I just asked her a bit from the 2, you know, without push, but just because she's doing it so effortlessly. And then at the furlong, because she's just so well, and I didn't feel she'd done a lot, I just asked her to pick, and she just...
She relaxes beautifully in behind her working partner, doesn't she?
She does, yeah. And she does that in a race too, if she's got the pace to suit. But when you switch her on, I was just talking to Vin about tactics before,
she's
you know.
fine, mate.
When
Thanks,
you switch her on, she's on.
Yep.
You know, while she's off, she's right, but once you know, in the mile, when I went to go, she went from second last to 2 in front in 50 yards. If we can just harness that turbo band into a 250, it's good that nature strips in the race, because it's going to be a race.
The Everest contenders will shine bright on the Harbour Bridge tonight when the barrier draw is revealed for Saturday's $14 million race.
We were here last year, but we were looking back from the other way onto the sails of the Opera House. Well, tonight's barrier draw for the world's richest race on turf will be beamed onto the Harbour Bridge.
Overall, though, it's such an even field. You've got 10 individual Group 1 winners, 2 have won at Group 2 level. Collectively, this field has won over $42 million. Get your head around that number. Look, it's the best sprint race in the world this year, without a doubt.
The Tab Everest will be revealed on the southern pylon of the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the bridge itself. Blue colours, but which one? Alizee, the 5-year-old mare, 3 times a Group 1 winner. Here's the barrier for Alizee. Barrier 10. Barrier 10 for the 5-year-old mare.
Yeah, look, she's drawn 10, and I probably would have. I was definitely hoping for inside 5 for her, particularly with the way that race is looking at the moment. Had she been there, she could have been that bit closer. But often in big races, it's a bit more about where you draw in terms of who you draw around, rather than exactly the barrier in isolation. So we got to hope that a horse like Nature Strip is comfortable to go forward in the big event.
Here it is, the final barrier. Barrier 5. Barrier 5.
Probably having drawn 5 with trekking, I would have loved to have flipped them, but from where she's drawn, I think it's just so important with 10 sovereigns to her left and yes to her right, that those horses are ready to run big races.
Earlier today at Osborne Park near Hawkesbury, we had a media call for the Godolphin horses in the Everest, Alizee and Trekking.
I understand she's over 600 kilos, so it's important that she is well and truly balanced before you ask her to move, and the barrier draw is going to give me the opportunity to do that. Obviously we're going to need the race run to suit to a degree, but the reality is whatever wins the race is going to need something go their way.
Well, I think specifically for us, I think it's a delicious speed map, because it's got a classic V shape where all the speed is. The widest horse is a bit faster than the one just inside it, You know, so there's a classic V where you will find those horses are going to have to do that little bit extra just to get across the ones in front of them.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with the draw. Speed drawn out wide. Barriers 1 and 2 look like mid to back markers. There's a good opportunity in her times drawn there with me who will press forward to some degree. The draw is perfect for us. Judging on the speed, the first 200 metres of the race will determine just how close I am to that speed. Well, what do we expect Brenton to do first? 200 metres in the race?
Well, it'll depend on how quick she jumps. I mean, he's going to be, he's a positive rider. He's not going to be giving away positions, and if he can take one a bit closer...
I reckon under the Opera House, he said on Tuesday night, I'll be crossing barriers 1, 2 and 3. She jumped
He was
from 4.
he was adamant about it.
She's jumping from 4, right?
Yeah.
Well, you've got Sandrine alone and Piarada in 1 and 2, so there's...
And Arcadia. 3, yeah.
But you know,
even I'd be crossing them if I was on
Well, that's provided Piarada plays along with him. Sure. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Piarada wants to be closer.
Oh, definitely.
And it's going to be to his advantage, the way he's been racing. If he is closer, it's going to make him awful hard to beat.
Yeah, because he's strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look, we know what she's capable of doing. She hasn't been tested at this level over this distance ever, so I guess it's a little bit of a query there, but my personal opinion is that she'll be right up to it.
He's won his place in the field. A very exciting race, and he's well and truly in the event. He could be the strong horse late.
It's got to be just about the best sprint race assembled anywhere in the world in 2019, and I just have to have a bit of faith that the horses that, well, Alizee, who we've chosen to be our seasoned sprinter, and Trekking, who's on the 7-day backup after a beautiful performance to win the Scalacci second up, are good enough to peak and to perform against those horses at their very best.
More nervous than I've ever been in my whole life. It's a pleasure to be strapping him on a day like today in the Everest, so bring it on, eh?
At the races, you know, she always is a bit of a different beast, a bit more alert and full of herself, but that's pretty normal for her.
And this crowd's starting to get buzzed up already. They can sense the start is approaching, the clock is ticking down.
Nothing gives you quite the feel that the Everest gives you. It's great for the sport, and it's a real spectacle. It's an event. It's not just a horse race. It's an event.
It's an exciting thought, and let's hope I can make it reality.
Let's go to number 8, Hugh Bowman on board. Godolphin have the slot. James Cummings is the trainer. It looks like she's going to go out, Lizzie.
Yes, she is going out. Look, this is normal for her. She's a really high energy, she's got so buzzed up quickly, and this is good that they're taking her out. This is going to give her every opportunity to run well.
She's an explosive mare, hand-picked by Godolphin. She has an amazing sprint and appears to be flying.
Let's go to her stablemate, Trekking. Melbourne Racing Club, who are holding the Caulfield Cup today, have a slot in this race. James Cummings and Josh Parr. Lizzie Grimer is the strapper.
Yeah, Stradbroke winner, 3 starts back, 3rd up, on a back off of a Group 2 win. Some hope he could be last man standing.
So there is Alizee in the blue cap, Trekking in the white cap. The Godolphin runners come up together. The light is on for the Everest, the Tab Everest, and the gates are back. They're off, and a great start. Sunlight Classique Legend of Jump Well, together with Nature Strip going forward. Redzel's right there. Arcadia Queen is very handy as well within her time. This is a great go up in the early stages with Sunlight pushing forward. Nature Strip the outside. Redzel will just take a tug back into 3rd, followed by in her time. Arcadia Queen's in 5th, 2 for the back, 2 Classique Legend. They're followed off the track to Alizee going forward from Parada. Yes, 10 Sovereign, Santa and Elena, and Trekking's the last one. Nature Strip got to the fence, leads by a length on Redzel. Sunlight back to 3rd. Arcadia Queen's pushing out. In her time is next. Alizee right behind from Classique Legend, and further back to Parada creeping into it. Santa and Elaine 5 off them looking for room. Getting to the outside now. Nature Strip of the 200. 2 in front to Redzel. Yes is winding up. Further back then to Trekking, and Santa and Elaine. The count. Yes takes the lead. Santa and Elaine is charging at the end. Yes. Wins the Everest. Beats Santa and Elaine. Trekking 3rd.
Joshy, Trekking, what a fantastic effort. You know, as we thought, he'd be the strong horse late.
he just kept coming and coming with a strong run. Just had to avoid heels coming to the corner. It just made it a little bit awkward for him as 10 Sovereigns was going amiss. It rolled in on us and just caused a bit of crowding. And that halted our momentum through, but terrific effort from him. Delighted. Well done, team.
Tough effort.
Very. Thank you.
Well done. Huey on Alizee.
She was a bit keen early, and I tried to come back, but I was going to be putting the race away by doing so. I thought, to make a decision, I worked with her. She settled well and travelled well and came off and gave a bit of a kick, but she just needs to, at this level, needs to spit the bit out from the start.
Well, it just needs a bit of cover.
Yeah,
inside gate.
Inside gate would have helped. I could have just put her asleep, but when Glenn didn't go forward early, I was going to have to wrestle her to get behind him, and I thought, well, the race will be over.
Yeah.
I'll just work with her. And she worked with me, but it took its toll late.
Good. Right, mate.
Thanks for the ride.
Thanks, Huey. Thank you. Well, both horses tried their heart out. Unfortunately, Alizee 3 wide, no cover off a fast speed. It's pretty hard to do, and trekking, backing up after a quick backup, and a good win last start in Scalacci, run out of his skin. It was a huge effort to run third and picks up a tidy 1.2 million. So good effort by the team all round. Congratulations.
The horse at the end of the day is why everyone at Godolphin's involved, right up to the top. In His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, it's passion for the animal first and foremost, and then the elite competition aspect of it. And when I think about Winston's quote there, I reflect on watching horses that are carrying Royal Blue return to the enclosure, and win, lose or draw, to see these horses that have expended all the energy they've got for that 2 minutes or a minute and a half of sport, and come back to you. Like the thoroughbred is just a very honest beast, and I don't think you see that honesty any more revealed than when they return to the unsaddling enclosure after giving their all in a race.
There's no better quote that really exemplifies what Godolphin means and what all of the Godolphin staff, whether it's here in Australia or the world over, we're all mad about the horse. We're all very passionate about the horse. We're very passionate about what we do, and it's basically portraying what His Highness Sheikh Mohammed is endeavouring to do, and his passion and love is the thoroughbred horse, or horses generally. And we've got an unbelievable opportunity to promote his ideals and what he loves.